that Cheshire Hall is one of the best preserved plantation eras in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Upon entry, you will see the walls that the slaves built that were not touched by the National Trust. They were all original and not touched, but simply built and left behind by the slaves of Cheshire Hall Plantation. There are many medicinal plants here on the Cheshire Hall Plantation. You'll see a lot of aloe vera. You'll see a lot of other medicinal plants that the slaves would have used, as there was no hospital back in that time period. They would use these to medicate themselves and use for food and the means of supplements. The cotton here that was grown in the Turks and Caicos Islands is actually the Sea Island cotton that was brought here actually by the Loyalists. The Sea Island cotton was considered the best quality cotton in the entire world, and because of that it was at high demand and made it one of the most expensive cotton to buy in the entire world. The bell was used to signal the slaves that the day was over. The slaves worked tremendous amount of hours from dusk to dawn, and they were extremely tired, so the slaves would have been pretty glad to hear the bell at the end of the day when their master would have rung it to let them know that they had completed an entire day's work. Okay, so the slave cabin is where slaves would sleep. There may have been at least 6 to 8 slaves in one cabin, one entire family. They would have slept on the floors. Inside of this slave cabin, you'll see a lot of remains: sewing machines, brooms, actual sandals that the slaves might have worn, and a lot of other things. The roof were made from thatch and the floors were made of dirt. There wasn't any concrete or anything like that. The slaves lived in this kind of condition all the time. There weren't any actual beds or windows that they would have to slide open, just swing open for a little bit of breeze. And you would see that the slaves were able to construct this building in a manner where they will provide at least a little bit of comfort for themselves. The kitchen, you will be able to see where they made their food. There wasn't a lot of space inside of the kitchen. The kitchen would have been constructed in this area. The fireplace is the only remnant here that we have remaining. Majority of the herbs that were used inside of the kitchen, such as basil and lemongrass, would have been planted here in the plantation. The outdoor area where they would have cooked a lot of the food to avoid the smoke within the actual kitchen would have been where they created a lot of their foods. The main house is where the master would have stayed. It is actually the highest point on this entire plantation, and he was able to overview the rest of the plantation and oversee all of the workers and where they actually live, the kitchen area, the cotton base, and every other building here on the plantation. So the administration office would have been where a majority of the slaves would have been registered. They would have had all the names done, and the names would have been written as John and then the age. In the 1960s, it would have been where majority of the work in Providenciales would have been done. So it has been used on several occasions and in 2 different time periods. Cheshire Hall was built over 200 years ago. It is actually one of the best plantation-era ruins here in the Turks and Caicos Islands. It holds a lot of historical, cultural, and heritage behind it. And it is very important that us Turks Islanders and people that visit our country get to see what the Turks and Caicos is all about. It's more than just sand and sea. Here at the National Trust, we will encourage you and give you a tour to give you a glimpse of what we have here in the Turks and Caicos Islands in regards to history. You can contact us at 1-649-941-5710 or visit our page at the turksandcaicosnationaltrust.org and our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram at the Turks and Caicos National Trust to see more.